the conversation, Education and Migration and Integration, CEMI, is an online conversation program. And what it basically does is seem to empower the migrant community through information exchange between the different organizations of migrants. And most times, many migrants, including myself, we always feel that the German system is not convenient or is too strict to succeed and thrive. So by focusing on different topical issues, the conversation, education, migration, and integration, CEMI, they are here to enlighten migrants with information on how the German system operates at various levels and how they can get the best out of it. So you're here to really know how you can get the best out of, Germany. And the main goal of this project is to break the circle of misinformation, which I'm sure some of us here or one or two persons here might have been, a victim of. So to break that circle of misinformation among the migrants community and to give them a chance of making a better and more informed life decision. So the conversation here is brought to you by the Horizon Network with the support of BürgerStiftung Hamburg via the Migrant Engagement Fund. So for today, like I said, we'll be talking about money, discussing on tax. So today's conversation is on tax system in Germany. And as you can see, I'm not alone here. There's a pretty smiling lady she's going to be the one talking to us today about the tax system in Germany. And join me to welcome Mrs. Stephanie Casters. Welcome, Ms. Stephanie, and it's so great and so nice to have you here with us this evening. In 1 or 2 minutes, I'll be handing over to you for you to take us on. And then I'm here to inform you that if you're here and while she's giving a presentation, you have any question, do not wait until she's done. You can just put the question in the Q&A box. Kindly drop any of your questions there and everything is going to be answered. So along the presentation, if you notice that you have anything you want to ask her or just for her to clarify on you, just drop and we promise to give answers to all of your questions. So I'll be handing over to you, Ms. Stephanie. The floor is yours. One minute, I'm going to give you the assets. Okay, so right now, I think you can take over.
Okay, I will share my screen. So,
okay,
great. Hello and good evening, everybody. Many thanks to Horizon Resource Network to organizing this workshop and get the chance to speak about the tax system in Germany. Yes, it's nice to have you all here because taxes is not a easy topic. Regardless which country, is a complicated and sometimes also boring topic. So most people don't like to speak or to think about taxes and the obligations, but sometimes they must. However, I hope I can bring the text a little bit closer to you without you falling asleep during my presentation. Unfortunately, my little son was bringing a cold at home, so I already apologize for any interruptions regarding my throat. So, but I will give my best to show you what I have here. Okay. Yes, I would say let's start. Yes, that's me. I'm a tax advisor. Being a tax advisor in Germany is a very honorable profession with up to 10 years of education. So I have my own tax company, Collexis, with my partner Michaela in Hamburg and in Berlin. So we have also 9 employees already. And yeah, that's all to Colexis. So what we would like to do today, what we want to talk about. First, I would like to quick introduction about the general tax system in Germany. Next, we will check how the taxes works for employees and then also for self-employed people. Afterwards, I would like to show you what the obligations are in Germany. And yeah, the last topic is a quick look in the taxes for corporation. I will only give you a rough overview about the taxes because the topic is very huge. I can told you so much in very, very detail, but we have no enough time for that. So this is only the rough overview about the topics. Yeah, details or an individual consulting will not handle today. Yeah. So let's start with the tax system in Germany. Goal is a rough understanding of why taxes are levied, by whom and how much. Here is a quick overview. What does Germany spend its tax revenues on? Germany is a social state based on the principle who need help, whom will get help. Yeah. On the other hand, funding funding of the system is by all. The budget in 2021 was around 500 billion euros. The distribution of the tax revenues will change every year because reasons like Corona or the situation in the Ukraine or the climate change will have an effect on the spending of the tax revenues in Germany. So the revenues will change every year, and yeah, nobody can say what comes next, no? Then there are over 30 types of taxes. Some taxes will be levied based on an income, other taxes will be levied based on transactions, for example, the value-added taxes, or will be levied as an ownership, for example, as a homeowner. Today, we only speak about the orange marked taxes, which are relevant based on your income and your salary. There are different institutions in Germany which manage the taxes. So the income taxes are national taxes. That means the taxation is the same everywhere for everybody. There are also taxes which will be only managed by the states, and there are taxes that will be managed by the local, by the locals. For example, the municipalities. The municipalities will. The taxes will be declared by the city, depend on the social, economic, demographic, culture specifics of each city. So the city can say, okay, the taxes are, for example, 5% in order to get the money in. This can handle the city by city. For example, Munich can say 5%, Hamburg can say, okay, well, 7%. And so on, so on, so on. Okay, here's a quick overview about the type of income. There are 7 income types based on the Income Tax Act. Today, we only speak about the orange marked types regarding the employment, the self-employment, commercial business activities. Why? Because the other ones are special types of incomes, and yeah, it's not the topic for today. In this context, it is important to know that Germany has two important principles. The principle of fairness and the minimum subsistence level. That means those who make more money are also taxed more heavily. On top of that, you only pay your contribution to taxes when you are in the position to do so. This is the reason why we have a minimum subsistence level. You pay no taxes when you are under this level. When you are up to this level, then you pay taxes, and you more you earn, so more you pay. Okay, enough for the general part. Let's start with the, I guess, most relevant part for you. This is the taxes for employees. So the first question is, who has to pay? Employees is when you have, when you work in the company and have the employment agreement, and if you're a resident in Germany. Residential is relevant for the income about which will be taxed. You will tax it with your worldwide income when you're having a resident in Germany. Worldwide means in all countries, what you have an income, you need to declare that here in Germany. When you are not have a resident in Germany, then you are will be only taxed with your German income. In this context, there are some restrictions between the countries, but I think this needs to be checked in more detail when it's relevant. But in general, yeah, is it so? Which taxes we have and charges for the employees is the wage tax. Then we have the solidarity surcharge. We have also the church tax. And I would like to also show you something about the social security contributions. It's not a tax, but it's relevant for you as an employee. The wage tax. Wage tax depends on the gross salary, your tax class you have, and the possible allowance you can apply for. So it's a percentage based on the list included in the acts, in the German acts. And yeah, this is the high of your wage tax. So next, I would like to show how the wage tax, what the relevant positions are. This is the tax classes. We can have a look at it. There are 6 tax classes in Germany which have a different wage tax rate. They are tax class 1 for singles and married with limited taxation, and divorced or living permanently separately. So then we have tax class 2 for single parents, and 3 for married or registered partnership and having different salaries. So this is the for married people. One partner had tax class 3 and the other partner has the tax class 4. 5. So yeah, the tax class 3-4 is also for married people. So married people have a right to choose. Both partners can have the tax class 4, or they can choose that one partner has tax class 3 or tax class 5. Now this depends on the salary they have, and you can change it every year. You can change it also during the year, and yeah, this makes sense to change when one partner is not working, or when one partner is at home regarding a child or something like that, then it makes sense to change in order to reduce the payment of wage tax from your salary. So this means you would have more net salary and payout when you change the tax class for married people. Okay, I will show you in an example when you pay wage tax for the different tax classes. Up to 450 euros, you have to pay any wage tax. The first wage class you pay is for the tax class 5, because this is, and the tax class 6, because it's high wage tax rates. Then the next stop is tax class 1, and the tax class 4, you begin to pay wage tax with a gross salary of 1,000 euros. And then 1,500 euros, you pay taxes for the tax class 2. The tax class 2, you remember, is the tax class for the single parent. So I would like to help this group of people in order to have more money in the month. So this is the reason why they pay very low wage tax. The last one is the tax class 3. This is for married people. One person have tax class 3 with high income, and the other person is, for example, at home or have a very, very, very low salary. The married people can choose this one. So this is all about the tax classes. You can also apply for so-called allowance in order to reduce your wage tax. There are some different kind of that. You can file an application with your local tax office in order to include it an allowance at your tax class. That means the wage tax will be lower after consideration such allowance. Typical allowance are if you have a child or if you are a single parent, then you will pay lower wage tax. The first one is also interesting for people which have very, very high income-related costs. For example, if you work in a company and, for example, has a lot of travel expenses or expenses for an education or something like that, and nothing will be paid by the employer, then you can also include such allowance to reduce your wage tax during the month. Then the solidarity surcharge. In order to understand the SOLI, we have to look at the past. Due to the reunification in Germany, the project Reconstruction East Germany was started. With the solidarity surcharge starting 1991, every taxpayer supports this process and in unequal relations between East Germany and West Germany. The first time in 1991, the SOLI was limited for 1 year. So that means no SOLI was paid in the years afterwards. But in 1995, the solidarity surcharge was levied again, but then unlimited. So the SOLI amounts 5.5%, and it's a supplementary rate on an income tax, also from the wage tax. But finally, from 2021, the SOLI was partly abolished. So that means that no solely needs to be paid on an income up to around 17,000 euro. This is good news. Long time ago, since 1991. Yeah, this is the Solidarity Social. But I think in the future you do not see anything about it in your wage tax, I think. The church tax. You only pay this wage tax if you are a member in a religious community. The membership is voluntary. You can go out from this community whenever you want. You do not pay any church taxes from the wage tax if your church is not in this system. So the system I have included here, all of them, though some churches you need to pay the money directly to them, but here the wage tax will be paid over your salary. At the moment, the church tax are 9% from your wage tax. So the last one is the social security contribution, approximately 22% of your gross salary. There are the health insurance, pension, long-term care and employment. Due to these payments, the social security system will protect you, for example, in case of illness, care, unemployment, and something like that. So all of that, I will show you a graphic of that. So you can see the proportion of all deductions from your gross salary, because usually you will agree with your employer a gross salary, but then the most important question is, what is my net salary or my payout? This is a simplified overview. The calculation of the exact net salary is a bit complicated, but for this there are a lot of calculators in the internet. I have some links in the end of the presentation. I have also an example for the payslip. Here you can see the gross salary and the deductions. For example, here is this wage tax and the social security, and the net salary or the payout is also to see at the end. So this is for an example for the payslip. The payslip looks different from employer to employer. So important for you to know is the deductions from the gross salary to get your net salary. All deductions will usually be paid by the employer directly. So when you see the errors here, wage tax, church tax, and SOLI will be go to the tax office directly by the employer. Also, the social security amounts goes also directly to your respective social security organization. And only the net salary will be paid out to you. So next part, that is the chapter with the taxes for self-employed people. Yeah, self-employment is an overall description for all people which working on for their own. Inside this description, a classification needs to be done. The first step is to check which kind of job is performed. For example, is that important for the kind of registration, the kind of tax registration, and also the kind of the taxes which needs to be paid. So we difference here freelancer and sole trader. So I have learned that the sole trader is, there are a lot of words for that. Trader, entrepreneur, sole trading. Yeah, I think you know what I mean with sole trader when we look at the descriptions. So the freelancer generally worked in the service sector. They do not need any employees, as the services can become from their own. The activity generally requires a university degree, special education, or artist talent. The sole trader is anyone who sets up a business on their own and does not choose a corporation. In short, I can say if you are not a freelancer, you will be a sole trader. If the tax office is not sure what you are, they will always say you are a sole trader. When you are not, if it's not clear if you're a freelancer, then you will always be a sole trader. It's not bad, it's good. It's also good as a freelancer. I will show you why. I have here some examples. Freelancer are generals like the artist, also a tax advisor, a lawyer, a medical professions, engineers, teachers, educators. Sole traders are crafts, retail trade, wholesale trade, online shop, or other which are not a freelancer. Yeah. The next is which taxes has to be paid for both people. As a freelancer, you pay income tax and also as a solely. And for the sole trader, you have income tax, solely, and also trade tax. You have pay one tax more, but it's not bad because the trade tax will also include it in the income tax as a quick deduction. So this is the reason why it's not so bad to be a sole trader. So let's next let's have a quick look at the income tax and also at the trade tax. So solely we had spoke before, so I think I leave it out. So the income tax rate depends on your overall income. Here you will see the fairness of the taxation in consideration of the minimum subsidence level we spoke before. Already from the first euro over this subsidence level, you pay taxes. Here you can see that it's 40 euros. The subsidence level is 9,984 and €1 afterwards you pay taxes of 40 euros. Then the tax rate increases progressively afterwards with your increasing income up to a maximum limit of around 250,000 euros. 250,000 euros, yes. This is the maximum limit. From now, you always pay the highest income tax rate. And this is 45%. This is the highest income tax rate in Germany. Trade tax. As mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, trade tax will be managed by the single municipalities. So for example, Hamburg, Berlin, also the smaller cities like Buxtehude, Rheinbeck, Köln, Frankfurt. Yeah, for self-employed people, there's a tax-free up to a profit of 24,500 euros. This is tax-free. Afterwards, you have to pay this trade tax. Therefore, it's very, very important the choosing of the location of your business, in which city you are going to. So here's a quick overview about the calculation of the trade tax. At first, the trade tax base will be calculated by the tax office, and then the tax office given information to the respective municipality, and the municipality will be use their own tax rate to calculate the trade tax. The tax rates in the municipalities are the big range. You can see 250% and 580%. This is, yeah, there are cities in, I don't know, in Saxony, for example, which have 250%. And then we have bigger cities which have a tax rate from 580 euros. I have a quick map also. Here you can see the single tax rate. This is the reason why it's really, really important to have a look where your business is located. In the past, a lot of business people were located in big cities. In order to manage the budget of the city, the trade tax was increased over the year. With the result that the business people were moved outside of the big cities in order to save taxes. This is the reason why the bigger cities are sitting outside of Hamburg. For example, I saw Amazon or something like that. These big fabrics are outside from Hamburg, and yeah, Hamburg has a high rate. Yeah, Berlin also, Munich. You need to go very outside to have a small tax rate for that. Okay, annual tax claim for private persons. The year is over, and everybody is wondering, need I submit the tax return? And if yes, what I have to do? What or who can help me, and what happens next? So I will speak to you about check your must, if it makes sense, and how it works, and then what comes at next. So most here are a lot of requirements you need to check, and if one of the requirements are met, then you are obligated to file a tax return. So most applicable requirements for filing the tax return is when employees or married people with a tax class 5, or when you're getting a short-time allowance. In Germany, this is called Kurzarbeitergeld. Last time, employer was paying their due to Corona. When you get such money, you are obligated to file a tax return. You are also obligated when you get wage tax replacement benefits. For example, regarding an unemployment, or regarding sickness, or when you get a child and get money for parental. You are also obligated to file a tax return when you have additional income, for example, self-employment, pensions, rent. Yeah. If you have to check this and say, oh, no, I'm not obligated, then yeah, If no before mentioned requirements were met, you are not obligated to submit a tax return. But in some cases, it would make sense to submit a tax return voluntarily in order to receive a tax refund. Here you can find some cases where a refund is very, very possible. For example, you have high income related expenses. You have a lump sum basis of 1,000 euro. If you have expenses above of that, then you could check if it makes sense to file a tax return in order to get some money back. Yeah, this is the most recent of that, or you haven't worked through the full year, or you have changed the tax class during the year, or you have various salary during the year. Yeah, or have low salary and have a second education started or something like that. You can your loss carry forward to the next years in order to use the costs in the future in order to reduce your taxes. So yes, filing a tax return. These are the current deadlines. The deadlines are only relevant if you must submit a tax return, and not when you are file it voluntary. When you would like to file a tax return voluntary, you have time 4 years back to file a tax return. So when you say, okay, we have now 2022 and you would like to file it voluntary, you can back to 4 years. So the first year you can file a tax return is 2018. The deadlines in 2021 and also in 2022 delayed due to Corona. Usually this was end of July, but due to Corona they has postponed it. When you have a tax advisor, or if a wage tax help association is in charge, you have prolongation of the deadlines. For this is important to have a power of attorney from the tax advisor in order to extend the filing deadlines. So you can see we have enough time to file the tax returns for last year. This is good because the tax advisor has so much work. And yeah, as it is the exception. Sometimes the tax office send a letter to you and say, hey, please file a tax return until. So this is the exceptions from the deadlines. Then you have to file it until this date. Next, I would like to speak about the calculation of the taxes. The annual tax claim considers all types of income. We have spoke before, there are 7 income types over the year. Allowance and release can be claimed. There are 4 steps. I will show you the calculation in an example. I think it's better to explain it. So we have here a single person with no children is working in an employment relationship. Half-time with a gross salary of 24,700 euros per year. Furthermore, the person was starting a small business with trading of outdoor products, for example. So due to the business, the person is obligated to prepare and submit the tax return. to the local tax office. The simplified calculation of the income tax is as follows. So you have the income from the employment. The income is the gross salary minus the lump sum deduction of 1,000 euros, as no higher costs are in place. These costs, for example, could be costs for the way between your home and the company, or for any educations, or the home office lump sum basis they have already. But if you have no such costs over the 1,000 euros, you get the 1,000 euros always. Then you have the income of the employment. Afterwards, the income of the self-employed will be calculated based on the profit and loss calculation. The revenues minus the relevant expenses, and then you have the net income. Afterwards, the social security contributions, this usually includes the social security withheld by the employer from your gross salary, which will be deducted here. And this person in my example has also did some donations, for example, for the Ukraine or other, and have a donation certificate, and then they can also reduce the tax base. So from all of them, you have a total income, as they have no children, so no children allowance needs to be considered. Then you have the taxable income. And from this taxable income, they will calculate the income tax. And the solidarity surcharge. You see the soli is 0, and the income tax, the wage tax you already paid by the gross salary or from your payslip will be deducted here, and you will get a small refund. So this is a reason, this is a good example to see that you sometimes can get money back when you have a small salary or extraordinary expenses. Yeah. Then important for you is also to know that there are some fines and penalties from the tax office. This will become when you not comply with your tax responsibilities. That means no tax returns was filed despite obligations, or you filed it too late, or the tax payment was not made in time. Then you will get late filing penalties, late payment penalties, or a compulsions fine can also be made. Yeah. A quick tip from my side: if you cannot meet a deadline from the tax office, please do not wait until something happens. Contact your local tax office directly and explain your situation. Mostly they understand that and can postpone the deadline in order to avoid these penalties and fines. Or you can look at the tax advisor and say, hey, you need help. The tax advisor will call the tax office directly and say, okay, please wait, we are working on it. And then they are also fine, and yeah, these penalties can be avoided. So, and where can help you with this? You can do it with a software. You can also use the Wage Tax Help Association. The German word for that is Lohnsteuerhilfeverein. And you can also do your tax return with a tax advisor. I will say something about these 3 points. For example, you can do it with a software. You can use Elster. Elster is free for all. And as a platform directly from the tax office, you can communicate it with the tax office, you can file the tax returns over Elster, you will get the Elster certification. Sometimes you need this Elster certification also for other softwares when you do it by your own. Elster is not so good for somebody who did it not so good or have not so good understanding. It's not in English, it's only in German. It's much complicated. I have to say that. Then a wage tax help association. There are over such association is in every city, everywhere. They will lead by educated experts, for example, also from the tax advisor or from tax consultants. There are very, very strong specifications for them. For example, they need to show a special education, many years of practice experience, and only then they can lead such association. So that's a good people, they can help you. They are everywhere. And members, this is only for private persons. It's not for self-employed peoples or freelancer or an entrepreneur. And for such cases, you should go to a tax advisor. You can engage the tax advisor and get usually an accurate and individual service. An exact fee cannot be specified as it depends on a lot of various criteria, complexity, income, consulting service, and something like that. So, but the tax advisor would also a good option. So, what comes next? The tax assessment note. Here's an example from the tax assessment notes. These tax assessment notes are very important. You have to storage all documents around the taxes 10 years. Tax assessment notes are in particular important for your health insurance, for banks, other authorities, to evidence you earn money in Germany and pay taxes. I had a lot of requests from my clients in the past gehabt regarding the Ausländerbehörde. So I wanted to see the tax assessment notes in order to regarding the Aufenthaltsbescheinigung for Germany. This tax assessment notes include a tax calculation, hopefully based on the filed tax return. You can see the tax payment or tax refund and also the due date until when you have to pay. So when you file a tax return, you have to pay when you receive the tax assessment notes. Sometimes they need around 2 months to send the tax assessment notes. And the last time they needed 3 until 6 months to send it out. Yeah, important are also the explanations at the end of the tax assessment notes. There you can see if there are any other points they have to be considered, or they say, oh no, this expenses we cannot include it because. So this is important to read the whole tax assessment note. Taxes for corporations. This is a part more relevant for owner of a corporation, or if you would like to establish what types of companies we have in Germany. We have the GmbH, we have the UH, the GmbH, the AG, and I think the most of you know the limited. These companies, besides of the taxes, there are a lot of obligations which need to be considered. They have to be registered in a commercial register. They have to prepare the financial statements based on German GAAP. They're having a proper bookkeeping in place and all that stuff. So, but I will not go in detail of these types, only that you have here that it are. So which taxes has to be paid? The corporations. We have the corporate income tax. This is the same like the personal income tax, but only for corporations. And we have also here the trade tax. The corporate income tax is the fixed tax rate. And this will not be changed when you have more income, because it will be taxed by the same tax rate. It's a corporate tax, and this is also the SOLI. The SOLI is not zero, the SOLI is 5.5% of the corporate tax. So the total tax rate is around 60%. The tax rates, yes, we had mentioned it before about the tax rate. That will be managed by the municipalities. Yeah, and it depends on where the companies are located. Okay, now I have some links and tools for you that you have quick overview about that. There are some gross net calculator in the internet. These are very good. They are small files to put in the information, and then you get the exact amount of your net salary. Then you see what your wage tax is, you see what your church tax is, or when you have to pay the SOLI, and you also see your social security. So this are only examples, but there are some examples are also using by us. When a client is calling us and say, hey, please calculate, it's urgent, then we also use this calculator. I also put it here as a link, but I think it makes no sense for the ELSA software, which is from the local tax office. You can apply for an ELSA certificate. It's very easy to get this. And then you could check if when you prepare the tax return by your own, if you do that by ELSA, or you can also use an English platform. Here, some software in English. You can prepare your tax return. It's really, really easy to do that by this way. I have a very positive experience from some clients to get regarding this. So yeah, this is my advice for you. Steuergo, Wundertax, and Taxando. They're also in English. A wage tax help association, they are a link from the Verband, where you can put into your street and your place where you live, and then they will show you the association the nearest to you. And yeah, you can go and get help from them, hopefully. And you can also contact a tax advisor. Here are our contact details. You can call us, you can write an email, and yes, we will answer questions, and we will help you where we can. So I'm Stephanie Kastis. My colleague is Michaela Rother. She is in Berlin. I'm in Hamburg. The email address and the phone number is for central, but we both have a look on it. So you can contact us in any time. So yeah, this was from my side.
Thank you so much for that session. I would ask you to make me host, so I'll be able to turn my video on. And thank you so much for that session. That was information filled. And we already have some questions. I'm sure some other persons here might want to ask their questions personally. Do I have access now? I don't have access yet. Okay, let me try again. Okay, thank you so much for that session. I mean, I would suggest, okay, can you do this page in case anyone wants to copy down the numbers while we go through the questions we already have. So once again, I'm sure you guys have heard or learned one or two things, and you might have some areas that you still want clarification on. So it's either you use the Q&A box or you ask your question directly. So just raise your hand if you have questions to ask, and I will unmute you. So I'm just going to ask the one we already have here. This person says, can you please explain how taxing would be for someone who works full-time, but also has a small business that is side hustle? Must taxes be filed for the side business always, or just when the business starts to earn profits, and from how much? Did you get that, or you want me to repeat it?
Okay, can I answer? Okay.
Yeah,
sure. You have to pay taxes when you start your business. When you have a loss, you can setting this off with your full salary. But the tax office will look at your business the next years, and when you do loss, every year losses over maybe 5 years, they will ask you, okay, what you do and why you make losses. You need to prepare a calculation that you will get in the profit zone after some years. But you have to file and you have to declare your business in the tax return at this moment when you start.
Okay, that was clear enough. I'm sure, Ewademo, you got your answer. And this next question has to do with the case of mentioning having a child here. So this person asks, must the child be living in Germany?
No, the child must not be living in Germany.
Okay.
You can prepare an application and say, hey, I have one child, but you do not need to show any evidence for that. So this is the reason why they do not need to live in Germany.
Okay. And for people in crypto, this next question is for people in crypto. If the business was not mentioned, so how does tax work for people into crypto?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get my question?
No, sorry.
Yeah, this person asked for people in cryptocurrencies. So maybe people who trade and do all of those things in crypto. How does tax work for them? Do they have to pay tax?
The acoustic is very bad here, sorry.
Oh, okay, no problems. I repeat. So it's on cryptocurrencies.
Cryptocurrencies.
Yes, I think people who trade in currency, I understand maybe means to Bitcoin and all those forex and
okay.
so yes. This person wants to understand how tax work for them.
This is a really complicated topic because in Germany, they only NFTs, I think it's called so, needs to be included in the tax returns. Not all trading in currency needs to be declared. This needs to be checked in more detail, but we are not specialists in such kind. So yeah, the coins are very special topics, so I cannot directly answer this question, so sorry.
Okay, I'm sure there can be some answers online, because I mean, crypto is not like it's registered somewhere or it can be monitored in a way. So this next question is, in case you have, okay, sorry, can one be employed and also work as a freelancer? And then what tax class will such person take?
When you work as a freelancer, we have no tax class. You only have a tax class when you are an employer, an employee. So then you have a tax class. When you are only a freelancer, you have no tax class. The tax class is only relevant when you get a salary, and wage tax needs to be paid. But as a freelancer, you only pay the personal income tax, and then this is not relevant for the tax class. I hope I have understand the question correctly.
Yeah, but I think the question is now for a freelancer that is also employed. So the person has a side job, side also, and is also employed. So what tax class will such person take, and how would such tax return be done? Is it together or separately?
Yeah, this is separately, because the tax class depends on your personal status. If you're a single person, single parent, or married. So if you're a freelancer, it's not so important for that.
Okay. So if someone, for the person to file the tax, it has to be done separately for the freelance and for the job separately.
Yes, will be
okay.
Separately.
Okay, talking about tax refund, my next question is on tax refund, and it says, what are the example of things I can get a tax refund for, aside donations? So what other thing can I get tax refund for?
Sorry again, sorry, my English is sometimes not.
Okay, I'm just, pardon me, I'm just going to slow down and make you understand better. So it says, what are the other examples of things that one can get a tax refund for, aside donations?
What can you include in the tax return, right?
Tax refund, so,
yeah. For example, when you have expenses, travel expenses, so very huge travel expenses during for the employment, donations, or yeah, this is a good question, because it's very detailed. This is a their individual question. So I need more information to answer that. I need information, what do the person, what is the work, what they're working, what they where they're living, for rent or for own, and something like that. There are all that stuff that are included to answer this question. So this is the reason why it's not so easy.
There's an example of house repair. Can there be a refund on house repair? Maybe house renovations in a way.
And innovations?
Yeah, no. Like, you said aside donation, you mentioned travel expenses. They can be tax refund. So it says, what about house repair? Maybe house renovations. You're trying to renovate your building and getting new stuff and all that. Can there be a tax refund on that also?
Yeah, It depends on. It's yes, so sometimes yes, sometimes no. When it's together with business activities, then yes. But with the private person, then no.
Oh, okay. So you can't, for the person that asked the question, you can't get tax refund on your house repair if it's just personal and private. But if it has to do with maybe a business or company thing, then it's possible. I'm going to bring on James Edward. You raise your hand. You can unmute your mic and ask your question now.
Yeah, okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I wanted to like translate the last question you were trying to ask
Okay.
Frau Stefanie. Frau Stefanie, die Frage war, derjenige möchte wissen, ob man andere Sachen in der Steuererklärung einfügen kann, wenn man so eine Nebenbeschäftigung haben. Das heißt, außer Spende, was kann man noch in der Steuererklärung einfügen?
Yeah, it's social securities. Also, when you have can I say that in German?
Sure, you can say that.
Zum Beispiel Sonderausgaben, dazu zählen ja Versicherungsbeiträge, Haftpflichtversicherung, aber auch andere Versicherungsbeiträge, Unfallversicherung. Auch Handwerkerleistungen sind möglich, so, wenn Sie zum Beispiel Reparaturen haben, arbeiten am Haus durch Handwerker, aber auch haushaltsnahe Dienstleistungen, wie zum Beispiel, wenn Sie jemanden haben zur Kinderbetreuung oder eine Haushaltshilfe zum Beispiel auch. Das sind halt solche Sachen, die kann man so außergewöhnlich absetzen neben den Spenden.
Okay, alle diese Nebenausgaben, muss das in der Steuererklärung für die freiberufliche oder in den persönlichen Steuererklärung? Das war die genaue Frage, dass die gefragt haben.
Yeah, okay. You have to prepare one tax return. In this tax return, you have includes the income from the employment and also from the freelance, also from the self-employment. And in this one tax return, you have also include such all these expenses, the donations, the social securities, and also the Handwerkerleistung.
Yeah, payment for repairs and payment for other services that was rendered.
Yeah, right. All of them. This is one tax return with different appendix for each income type.
Okay. Okay. So I'm sure that's clear enough now.
Many things for translations helps sometimes.
I understand. Okay. Next question is for concerning married couples. So it says, for a married couple with the husband employed, but the spouse performs a menial job, maybe waiter, and receives less than 1,000 euros. What tax class could the man choose? And then what about the spouse? So the husband is employed and earns more than 1,000 and all, and the wife is just into menial jobs less than. So what tax would the man file for?
Yeah, in this case, it makes sense to use the tax list 3 and 5 because the wife, right, is earning less than him, and then she can take the tax list 5, and the husband will take the tax list 3. Then they will pay a lower wage tax, and then they have a more net salary. But when they choose this tax list, they are obligated to file an annual tax return. When they choose the tax class 4 for both, they don't not need to file an annual tax return. So
okay. Okay, and talking about the tax class, someone here still wants you to explain a bit, like the clarification on the different classes from 1 to 6.
Is my screen also shared?
Yeah, it's still shared. Yeah, yes.
I will look at, I think. This one.
Okay, yeah.
I think. There you can see all the tax classes again. So with married people, they have the tax class 3 until 5. This is only for married people. So the married people can use both the tax class 4. Then they have this makes sense with both have the same salary, and then they will pay the same wage tax.
Okay.
With 3 and 5, they can also choose. Then one will have a high wage tax and the other one will have a low wage tax. This makes sense with one partner earn more than the other part.
Okay, okay. I mean, this particular image is quite explanatory. So for the last question that was just asked on the husband working and the wife into menial job, so the wife has to file tax 3, yeah, if I'm correct, and then the husband can file for tax 5, class 5 rather.
So
okay.
no, the husband should be the tax class 3. And
the person
the wife should be the tax class 5 because she will only have a mini job.
Okay,
and
yeah.
The partner who earns more has the tax class 3.
Okay, yeah. So I think that is quite clear for the question that was asked, and you can maybe also take a screenshot or just take a picture of this for future purposes, so you don't have to forget about that. The next question is there any disadvantage or negative implication for filing a tax refund? So for someone that wants to file, is there any disadvantage attached to it or any implications?
Yeah, this is very. This is also a question. This is very hard to answer that because it depends on a lot of personal variations. Because in this case, yeah, you need to go to a tax advisor or the wage tax association. They will take a calculation. This is not the question who can answer here.
Okay, but for example, now, once I start to file my tax now, is there any, maybe for a particular year, do I have to continue once I started? Is it something I have to do every year? And for the year that I do not file it, is there going to be any implications on me?
When you file a tax return voluntary, then you have to do that every year.
Okay. All right. So we still have questions here. Okay, Ewa Adeyemo, your hands still raised. I just asked you to unmute now. So can you speak?
Yes, but I'm in the airport, so I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, fine. I had a quick question. So if you get a grant, say from the German government for a project or a business in another country, is it tax deductible? Do you need to include it in your Steuererklärung here in Germany?
When you from who get you the grant?
Say the German government or GZ, for example. So, but it's not to be spent in Germany, it's to be spent in another country because the business of the project is in another country, so outside of Germany.
When it's in the official certificate from Germany, then you can deduct this in Germany. This can also be an uproad from Germany, but you need the official certification for Germany.
My question is actually, since it's given to you or I got the grant, would it be a problem if I choose not to include it in the Steuererklärung? So it's not to get money from the Finanzamt, but it's like added income. It's just that it's not supposed to be spent in Germany.
Okay, did you get that question?
Ich kann die Frage auch auf Deutsch stellen, wenn das für Sie einfacher ist.
Ja,
Ja, okay, nee, ich meinte, also zum Beispiel, ich kriege dann Geld von der deutschen Regierung für ein Projekt in Nigeria. Muss ich dann dieses Geld dann bei der Abgabe von der Steuererklärung auch nennen? Muss ich dann das vorliegen? Okay, ich habe dann ein bisschen Geld von der Regierung gekriegt. Also ich würde das Geld nicht in Deutschland ausgeben, sondern in Nigeria. Verstehen Sie, was ich meine?
Yes, ja. Sind Sie hier in Deutschland ansässig?
Ja, genau. Ich wohne in Deutschland und ich bin auch Vollzeit tätig. Also ich arbeite auch Vollzeit in Deutschland.
When you are residential in Germany, then you have to include all income worldwide. So also if you get money from Nigeria or other country in general. So then it needs to be checked if you also pay any taxes in Nigeria or something like that. And then but this needs to be checked. In general, you have to include all income here in Germany.
Okay, so is that compulsory? Is it a punishable offense or it's just a matter of choice?
Sorry, in German, please.
Ich meinte, ist das Pflicht? Also kann man dann bestraft werden, wenn man nicht alles dann abgibt oder nennt?
Grundsätzlich ja.
Ach so. Okay, alles klar.
In general, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so on that, I think I heard you mention if you are here in Germany and you're still getting income from outside Germany, but you're a resident here, you still have to declare everything in your tax return.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But yes, of course.
All right. Humphrey, I don't know if you're still here and you still want to talk. Okay, your hands are not raised anymore. So do we still have any questions? Because right now, okay, I think Edward asked a question, but you just answered already, so that is answered. If you still have any question and you want to ask personally, you can just raise your hands. Because if we do not have any question, we have to bring the conversation to an end, to a close. So if you're here and you still want to, I mean, this topic is something that you have to be very careful about, because if you go the wrong way, there might be some implications. So it's something that you really want to have all the details you need in order not to make any error. So I guess no one has any question right now, and you've answered everyone completely. So thank you so much, Mrs. Stephanie. It was nice having you here join us this evening, and I'm sure that we've all learned one or two things, and your number that has been shared and other things. So in case anyone has anything to share, they can contact you and get the help they need. So thank you all so much for joining. So I'm sure that the conversation is not something that is just a one time. So hang in there. I'm sure you get our emails, and you can also go back to watch this particular webinar on our YouTube page, which is also going to be disseminated through the email. So watch out for that. So if, in case you need any other info and you just missed, you can go to our YouTube page once it's published there, and you have access to watch and rewatch again. So thank you all so much for joining, and to be bye from me here. Bye, guys.
Bye.